The lighting inside the station bar flickered with the usual amount of existential dread. It was not the kind of place for dancing, unless you counted panic as choreography. A slow-burning neon sign above the bar read, "We pour until you forget." 3 aliens sat in their usual booth, not because it was the best spot, but because it was farthest from the table where the bug-eyed diplomat regularly recited his memoirs in 9 languages at once. There was Vorlux, a gelatinous tactician with a mind like a broken chessboard. Ixio, the ever-nervous avian intelligence analyst who could blink with 2 eyes and overthink with 4. And Gren, a war-scarred veteran who had once stared down a quasar explosion and asked if it had anything stronger. Their topic tonight? The latest human horror documentary to be discovered in the vast, baffling archives of Terran visual culture. So, Vorlux sloshed in his seat like soup with opinions. Who watched the child one? Ixio twitched so hard his feathers shed 3 gilt-colored plumes. Yes, I watched it. All of it. I had to pause every 11 minutes for spiritual recalibration. Gren raised one heavy brow ridge. Describe it, Ixio inhaled. A small female human begins exhibiting signs of interdimensional contamination. She speaks in multiple tongues. She levitates. She manipulates the environment. There's projectile expulsion of matter, vocal frequencies beyond her species' natural range, and at one point she rotates her own cranial unit. Vorlux squelched. Backwards, like a planetary satellite adjusting orbit. Gren blinked. Was there an incursion? Ixio paused. Possibly. It may have been a non-corporeal parasite. The humans referred to it as a possession, though that term appears to encompass both demonic invasion and poor real estate decisions. They called in religious figures, Vorlux said, pulling up a holopanel and tapping through still images. Not soldiers, not medics, not scientists, just 2 men in robes with guilt in their eyes and books in their hands. Gren growled. Books. Yes, said Ixio. One of them was old and muttered to himself constantly. The other was young and deeply confused, which I assume is standard protocol. Vorlux placed a tendril to his temple, mimicking human deep thought. Let us assume, he said slowly, this was not a documentary, but a training simulation, like their combat exercises, except spiritual in nature. Training for what? Gren rumbled. For entities beyond physics, beings that corrupt from the inside, infiltrators of the soul. Ixio nodded slowly. That would explain why they test their own young first. Start small, see if it works. Gren's eye twitched. The child, she attacked her own progenitors? Oh yes, said Ixio, feathers fluffing in memory. Verbally, physically, and on at least one occasion theologically. Did they neutralize her? They restrained her, poorly. Vorlux swirled. There was an attempt at a ritual. With what outcome? Gren asked. Success, Ixio said, then hesitated. Sort of. Vorlux leaned in. Define sort of. The elder died, Ixio replied. The younger one may have absorbed the entity, or died also, or both. The ending is ambiguous. Gren snorted. Ambiguity is not a valid tactical outcome. Tell that to human storytelling, Vorlux muttered. I've seen one, Gren said suddenly. Both of the others turned to him. A human child on Juno Outpost. Quiet, pale, doodled spirals in the air with her fingers. Her parents said it was normal. Ixio's crest flattened. Was it? Gren downed a shot of distilled neutron fluid. She told me my ancestors whispered in her dreams. I hadn't told anyone about the dream echoes. A silence hung over the table. Vorlux's voice was low. Did she twist her head? No, said Gren. But she smiled. All 3 flinched. Ixio exhaled shakily. It's always the smile, same in the footage. Just before the temperature drops, just before the walls crack, just before the language becomes wrong. Vorlux flicked to another still frame. Look at this. They show her face covered in foreign symbols, unwritten glyphs of anti-faith. She carves them into herself. The camera does not look away. That is the most terrifying part, Ixio whispered. The humans watch. They document. They catalogue. They sell popcorn. Gren folded his arms. So what do we think it was? The entity? Ixio had notes. Of course he did. Theories include malevolent interdimensional being, misclassified fourth-dimensional parasite, vengeful mythos fragment, or, according to the humans themselves, a demon. Vorlux scoffed. Vague classification. Demon from where? They weren't sure. Somewhere below, or beyond, possibly both. Gren shook his head. And they fought it with prayers? And shouting, Ixio added. Lots of shouting. Vorlux tapped the holopanel again. Some of the shouting included sacred chants, others included insults. I believe psychological warfare was employed. Ixio opened a datapad and read aloud. The power of this ritual compels you was used repeatedly, suggesting a verbal mantra-based containment technique. Gren grunted. Did it work? It seemed to enrage the entity further. Good. That's how you know it's working. Vorlux floated slightly higher in thought. Why create such a simulation? Why inflict it upon their own population? Children, even? Because humans need to prepare for fear, Ixio said. To survive it, to master it. They do not deny it, they study it. They make it entertainment, Gren added, so it doesn't own them. Vorlux's form rippled with unsettling admiration. They walk into terror willingly. Ixio shuddered. Sometimes they pay admission. Gren leaned forward, and they never turn away. The holoscreen dimmed. The child's image disappeared. I don't think I could fight one, Ixio said softly. A child? Vorlux asked. No, a possessed human. He looked up, eyes wide. You can't tell where the human ends and the horror begins. Gren stood, cracking his neck. You don't fight them. You leave. You walk backwards, slowly. Don't blink. Vorlux oozed toward the bar. I'm going to request holy water for the ship. Isn't that superstition? Gren asked. I don't care, Vorlux said. It's protocol now. Across the room, the lone human bartender polished a glass, watching the trio leave. He reached beneath the bar and quietly turned off the old horror film looping on a screen no one else had noticed. A girl in a nightgown screamed silently behind glass. The human smiled faintly. They always get to that one eventually, he said to no one. Then he poured himself a drink and turned out the lights.